That's essentially the entire theme of the Bible as per Satan's perspective. He wants to prove that the only reason why humans even consider God is because of what God does for them. And Job is a central point to that. It is the ultimate point. It's the continuation of the Garden of Eden story where Satan goes, see, I'll even prove it with Job. And if you take away things from Job, you'll see how easily manipulated and how easily he'll drop you like a hot potato too. Because all humans are like that. That's why there was the sentence there, I came back from roving about in all of the earth. The implication there is that Satan has basically said, I've looked at all humans and look, I'm going to pick the best one and I'm going to prove you wrong, God. And then God says, you know what? I'll do you one better, Satan. As long as you don't kill him, you can do whatever else you want to him. I don't even have to do it. You go ahead and do it. And so there's now an agreement between God and Satan. Therefore, God, by his own agreement with Satan, cannot intervene, because the entire premise of Satan's argument against God is, if you do stuff, people be good to you. If you don't, people be bad. God would therefore logically know that he couldn't intervene until Satan was done his tests.
What I'm saying is like the test, the fact that like the test being quote unquote done would be like Job dies. Like he has all the suffering and all the boils and losses all his family and the livestock and the servants and all this stuff. That like if the main point was here, the main point to the story was that like to keep the faith no matter how bad things get, then the aspect or the how you'd write that story would be Job dies, but then he goes to the afterlife and he goes to heaven. He's rewarded. He gets to meet his kids and all the servants and all the stuff that he had on earth, and then everybody lives happily ever after, kind of thing. Right. Whereas the fact that God shows up is telling me that God does intervene before the bet is quote unquote finished, because he knows that he's going to lose the bet.
See, but that's a logical impossibility. Why would God, the ultimate creator of the universe who knows everything, undo his own logical bet with Satan? What about this? What if it's the case that God follows his own logic and follows his own agreement with Satan, and Satan could have continued until Job was of old age and died of whatever causes Satan inflicted on him, but instead Satan went, okay, I tried, I'm done. And then God steps in. Why wouldn't it be the case that God would have allowed Satan to continue until Job died? So again, we have to be clear, right? At the very beginning, God says you can't take his life, but he didn't say you couldn't continue pestering him until he died. So why are you presupposing that Satan didn't give up?
Because what I'm saying is that in terms of like the bet itself, it's like he will turn his back on you.
So like Satan can keep on trying till Job dies. What's a problem?
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. Like the fact that God intervenes and Satan doesn't keep fucking with him is like that's the main question that I'm getting at, because like we're presupposing that God is the good guy in this. You know what I mean? Whereas like any action he does is going to be justified no matter what. But even like when we're reading the other line where he's kind of saying he's destroying without cause, like destroying something without a cause is like definitionally like unjustified.
Yeah, correct. Okay. So how about, let me ask it a different way then. Prove to me that God intervened such that Satan could no longer continue. He was forced to step away. Like, prove to me that literally God stepped in and then said, enough, Satan. Or otherwise prove that I'm wrong, that Satan didn't stop first before God stepped in.
Yeah, so Job is suffering, and then he's basically having this dialogue back and forth with his friends, where the point he's cursing his own life, all this kind of aspect. And it gets to the point where like God then has to step in to remind Job's like, I'm all powerful, like I've created Leviathan. If you had a right arm as powerful as me, you'd be able to do all these things, but you don't. You get on your knees, all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So what I would say is that logically, in terms of the bet, would be it's like why does God have to step in at all during this story?
I think so. Why does he have to step in? I think is the wrong question. It's more like, why did he? Because why did he would point to something that's far more logically consistent within the theme of who is God and the story of the Bible itself, which is Satan tried, gave up,